Happy Halloween week! Hi, this is Kim with Mom's Creative Moments. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing a fun Halloween layout, and I'm excited about this one because this one incorporates my new quilt block lessons with Halloween. And if you are a quilter, then I'm sure you are not a stranger to the Witch's Boots pattern that is out there, and it may not be called Witch's Boots, but that's what I call it. We are going to turn that into a 12 by 12 layout today, and I'm super excited because I've been drawing it up, and I think it's going to be a super cute layout to include with your Halloween photos. So even if you don't have Halloween going on, but it's just the month of October, you could use this layout with your October photos as well. It's just super fun. Here in Utah, we have a place that does what they call Witch Fest every year, and so we go down and have dinner at the little cafe there and walk through. It's kind of a little village of shops, and just makes for a really fun evening for our family. My oldest daughter, Heidi, has a favorite holiday, and it's Halloween, and she loves to dress up, and she has some beautiful witch hats that she likes to wear. So she'll dress up and wear her cape and everything, and we go and we have dinner, and it's super fun. Anyway, hopefully this will be a fun layout for you, and you'll be able to find a use for it in your own albums. Let's check out my workspace and we'll get started. Also, just another quick plug. If you haven't signed up for my virtual Croptoberfest, I would love for you to join me for that. It is going to happen on November 1st, so it's coming up here real quick this weekend. And yeah, I'd love for you to participate and join me for that. You can create the designs that we're going to do and the classes that we're going to do using any paper that you have on hand. So it doesn't have to be the ones I'm using. You can create using whatever you want because it's a virtual event. So you're home. Do what you want with what you've got. All right. So the registration information for that is in the description of this video, and also the registration for my December Days class is going to be in the description of this video. That's another one that you can use whatever paper you have on hand to create these designs, and I will walk you through all the sizes. We'll be doing it on Zoom, so if you're going to Zoom with me, you can ask me questions. If you're watching the playback, then I'll try to repeat all the questions so that you can know what other people are asking. And if you have further questions, then you're welcome to comment on the video, and I'll get back to you as quickly as possible. Thanks so much. I look forward to seeing you and hope you'll participate with me in these two fun events. Let's get to my workspace and we'll get started on our witchy boots. All right, so this is my workspace for today, and I'm super excited about this one today because I had to create my own pattern and figure it all out mathematically, and I'm feeling pretty good about what I ended up with. So I hope that, I mean, of course, by now you can see on the thumbnail, you can see what it looks like. So hopefully it's super cute, but I guess we'll find out, huh? Okay, I have two pieces of paper and a pack of paper out here on my desktop and a scrap. And we are going to make a Halloween layout because it's Halloween week. And but this is a layout that you might, because I'm not using Halloween colors necessarily, you could conceivably use this for maybe just a fall pictures. But if you wanted to jazz this up and make it definitely Halloween, then you would change out these blues for purple or orange or highlighter green, you know, those bright Halloween colors, right? So that being said, we are making witch's feet today. Super, super fun. I'm excited. And I hope that this works. So, we are going to, I'm going to grab actually a piece of scratch paper, which you didn't get out, so hang on. Okay, so this is my scratch paper. We're going to cut a base out of this real quick. So I'm going to cut this at 4 inches. There we go. I'm going to cut it at 7. Let's cut it at 8 just to make sure we have a big enough piece. So we'll cut it at 8 inches. So 4 by 8. Handily, that leaves me with a 4 by 4 I could use later. I'll stick that over there. Okay. I'm going to set that here. Now I'm going to come in here with this blue paper with the plaid on the back. But we're going to use just the blue paper side, the blue kind of motley side. I'm going to cut it at 4 inches. And then I'm going to turn it and I'm going to cut 1 1/4 inch strips. So I'm going to use the grid on the right hand side of my cutting line, and I'm going to cut it at 1 1/4. I'm going to cut 1, 2, 3 strips at 1 1/4. So not 1 1/2, Kim. There we go. 1 1/4. And I want some of this darker blue. So I think I'm going to flip that around and cut this one from this side. So we have a little more of that dark blue. Maybe I'll do one more too, just so that we have a little variation if we need it. Okay. So setting that to the side. Then we're going to use mostly the anthracite. So I don't know if any of you have anthracite. These papers I am using come from Autumn Cottage. Autumn Cottage was our fall collection from last year of 2024. And so that's going to be our base sheet that we're going to use. Anthracite is a cardstock or a shimmer. It's not a cardstock, it's a shimmer paper. It's a shimmer paper that we had a while back. And I can't remember if it was on a shimmer buffet or if it was just offered. I don't remember when it was offered. But anyway, I don't use it very often, and I feel like it goes with the colors I'm using today, so that's why I pulled it out and decided that we would try some of this today. Okay, so I'm, again, going to take this black or anthracite shimmer paper. I'm going to cut this at 4 inches. Then I'm going to turn it, and I'm going to cut 3 more at 1 1/4. And this beginning part that we're cutting, the 1 1/4 pieces by 4, this is all going to be for her stockings. So we're gonna get to know our trimmer really well today, and we're going to be brave. And we're going to cut some pieces that are going to be a little bit unusual. Okay, so I'm just warning you ahead of time that that's how this is going to roll. So hopefully you will be okay with that. All right, so I'm going to put a generous amount of adhesive all the way across, okay? There's a reason for that. I'm not doing that just because I'm not paying attention, okay? So I'm going to put this starting right at the end. We're going to start with the blue, then I'm going to get a black. It's going to go right up alongside it. We're going to do another blue. And I'm going to flip this over so that we get more blue on this side, because we've got blue on this side. And another anthracite. Then we're going to flip this back. And another. And we might not need the one on the very end, but I'm going to put the one on the very end on there anyway, just because it may get trimmed off, but that's okay. That'll be all right. Okay. Let me just rub this adhesive that I just put on there off so that I don't catch that on anything. Probably should not put that on there. If I leave it on there, it'll stick to all kinds of stuff I don't want it to stick on. All right, so here are our witchy legs. We're going to go ahead and cut these apart at 2 inches. Okay, so put it back in your trimmer long ways. We're going to cut right down the middle to make our 2 witchy legs. Okay, and those are going to set up there. They are all ready to go. Okay, now we're going to cut 4 black pieces, okay? And we're going to have to, we're all going to have to be patient and work with me, because these are going to be a little bit tiny, but they are, so I'm going to take this piece right here, which is plenty wide enough. It's 4 inches wide, and we don't need it to be quite, we need it almost 4 inches wide, but not quite. So this is perfect actually for this first piece. So I'm going to turn this to the side so it's horizontal, and we're going to trim it off at 1 inch. Okay, so, and we're going to need 2 of those. So I'm just going to trim 2 of those at 1 inch. Okay, then I'm going to come back in here. You're gonna need your pencil, and you can either use your trimmer to measure, or you can use a 0 centering ruler. If you'd rather use a 0 centering ruler, that works too. Any kind of ruler is going to be your friend with this. Okay, so we are going to measure 1 inch and mark it. So I'm measuring 1 inch from my cutting line, and I'm putting a little mark there. And this paper is double-sided, so it's not going to matter that I have marks. I can flip it over ideally if I need to. Okay, so then we want this piece to be 3 3/4 long. So actually I'm going to flip this over and trim it at 3 3/4. And let me do the same thing with this one. So it's 1 by 3 3/4. So before I forget, there we go. Okay, so then with this one, I'm also going to mark this one at 1 inch. Just a a little bitty mark right off the side there. Okay, then on this side, I need to mark this side mark it on the same side, okay? And we're going to mark that at 3 inches. I'm sorry, 3/4 of an inch from the corner. Okay, so we're marking it here at 1 inch, marking it again at 3 inches. All right. Let me make sure I did that on this piece. I'll turn it around so it's going the right direction. We marked it here at 1 inch. We're marking it again at 3 inches. Okay, now you're going to come from this corner to your mark. So the outside corner to your mark on both sides. So place the corner and your mark on the cutting line and trim. And again, the outside corner and your mark on the cutting line. Okay, so that's one piece. Then we're going to cut the next one. And we're going to trim or cut the outer one. Again, outside corner to the inside mark, okay? So you should have 2 matching pieces that look just like that. We're going to take the one here on the bottom. So the shorter, I've got my shorter angle over here. This is the one we cut to the 1 inch mark. The 1 inch is going to go towards the outside. So we're going to set that just like that. Set that one just like that. So 1 inch is out here, 1 inch is out here. 3/4 inches towards the center. Okay? All right, now we're going to cut a piece that is 2.5 inches. 2.5 inches, and then it needs to be 3 3/4. So we're going to turn it and cut it at 3 3/4. So 2.5 by 3 3/4. We need 2 of those. Okay, so 2.5. And we turn it, and this is 3 3/4. All right. Now we're going to get our pencil again. And we're going to mark it. We're going to put this edge right on the cutting line, or make that your end where your ruler sits. And we're going to measure over 1 3/4 inches and mark it. 1 3/4. Okay, same thing with this one. Not sure why Maggie's going off upstairs, but so 1 3/4 on both of those. All right, then we're going to cut from this outside angle into our mark. So we're just going to turn it, put our mark on the cutting line and this outside angle right here on the cutting line, and we're going to cut. Okay, and that's going to go up there. We're going to do the same thing with this one. Here's our mark, here's our outside angle, and we're going to cut. Okay, this one we're going to flip over so that it's going the opposite direction. I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to cut this at 1 inch. This is my scrap. So 2 pieces that are 1 inch, we're going to stack those and we're going to cut them at 1.5 inches. So they're 1 by 1.5 inches. Okay, that's going to go 1 on either side. Okay, so I need 2 pieces that are 4 1/4. So there's that one. Here's this one. Okay. And then we're going to take this piece and we're going to mark the edge at 1 inch. Okay, mark the edge at 1 inch and mark this edge at 1/2 inch. So we got those, and then this one only needs to be 1.5 inches high. So it's too thick. We need this to be 1.5 inches by 4 1/4. Okay, so 1.5 by 4 1/4. Let me fix this one. This one's 4 1/4, but now I need it to be 1.5. Okay, then we're going to measure this one. So putting it right on my cutting line right there. And we're going to make a mark at 1 inch and a mark at 1/2 inch in from that edge. Okay, so right there. All right, so then we're going to cut that at an angle. So from our mark to the outside corner again. And oh, we didn't measure this one. This one needs to be 1/2 inch also. So how can we do that? I'm going to put this up here, right along that edge. I'm going to put this along the 1 inch mark, the 1 inch line, so I can mark that at 1/2 inch. So I've got my 1/2 inch mark here. We're marking it again here at 1/2 inch. And that's so that I can cut off that little angle. Okay, so just like so. Okay, that's going to go like that. So I need to measure that 1/2 inch. I'm going to put this on the 1 inch line again. Here's my 1/2 inch mark. I'm going to mark the other 1/2 inch right here. Okay, so we're going to cut off that little 1/2 inch corner. And then this one's going to be from our 1 inch mark to the outer corner. All right. That's our last piece. So let's get this assembled, okay? So I'm going to bring in my base sheet. I'm going to take this first piece that I've got here, and I am going to add some adhesive on the back. I'm going to make sure I have that corner with adhesive. This is going to go straight across the bottom with the bottom lined up and the outside edge lined up, just like that. Okay. Then I'm going to take our 1.5 by 1 inch piece. This piece is going to line up flush with the bottom and meeting that point right there. So just like that. Okay. Then we're going to take our next piece. This one is going to line up with the top, right with that shoe right there. And then we're going to take our first piece that we cut I'm going to do adhesive all along those edges because I just don't want them to come up. All right, and then this smaller, shorter edge is going to meet the very top of the shoe just like that. Okay, there's our shoe. And let's put our witch's leg stocking. This is going to line up right with the top. And go all the way to the edge. Okay, so we are going to trim that because it's obviously too high. Okay, so now we're going to take the opposite side. I'm just going to grab my eraser and erase some of the little marks because this one was cut on top where I marked it. Okay, so I'm going to flip that over. And this one's going to go right to the edge of my page. Then we're going to take that 1 by 1.5. And this one's going to meet up with that point and go straight down and be flush with the bottom of our page. If you get those two pieces lined up properly, then you are in. You're doing good. Okay, then this is going to line up with the boot. And this one, remember with those two different angles, so you got to make sure that the wider angle is towards the outer part of the page. These will meet right here in the middle and go out like so. And then here are our stockings. Okay, so just like that. Now we're going to trim off the stockings that are too long. So we cut these pieces at 8 inches. You probably only needed 7 inches. But I was just making sure that my measurements were not off. Okay, so there's our witch's feet. We need a buckle for her shoes. And I haven't tried this yet, so this is going to be a little bit of experimentation here. But let's build her a buckle for her shoes. I'm thinking she needs a buckle that's probably going to be, let's start with 2 inches and 2 inches square. We'll see if that's too big. Is that too big? That's probably too big. We probably need something a little smaller. So let's try 1.5. That's better. I think that will work. We'll do, okay. So 1.5, and then we're going to do just a quick little frame on the inside. And to do that, I'm going to get some adhesive on the back of my paper. I'm going to put that down so that it's not going to move. I'm going to cut from, I'm going to try to give it like a 1/2 inch frame, okay? So we're just going to line it up with the 1/2 inch mark over here to the side. And do my best to line it up each time. It's a little tricky, to be honest. But I think you'd probably be okay if you did not have a buckle. I just thought a buckle would be cute to try to do. You know, it's one of those things that comes to you in the shower or in the middle of the night when you're trying to go to sleep and your body's not letting you. And you think, I think my witch's shoe should have a buckle. Does that ever happen to you? Maybe not. Okay, we can pop that up too. I need 2 of them, so that means I'm going to need to do another one. So, 1.5. 1.5. 1.5 inch. And there's a lot of overlap in these cuts. I will tell you. So, but that's okay. I'm okay with it because all I want is to be able to pop these up and make some cute little buckles for my witch. Okay, so I'm just gonna put a foam square on either side. I don't think I'm gonna put one on all sides. I think I'm just gonna put one on opposite sides to help that stay up. Come on now. So I'm just going to put that right like so. All right, so there are our witch's boots. Now you maybe you've already asked yourself, where in the world would I put photos on such a cute page? Hopefully you're saying it's a cute page. I think it's a cute page. So I'm going to suggest that we use the 5.5 by 3.5 inch size pictures, or maybe just 2. You could add a couple of 3-inch pictures. Or maybe add two 3-inch pictures down either side. Maybe you could even add one here in the middle, or 2 there in the middle. So you could fit quite a few photos on this page. It just would take a little bit of imagination, right? You might even be able to put an additional one down here on her boot or in the middle of her boots, you know, if you really wanted. So you could fit actually probably a lot of photos on this page if you really trimmed them, because you'd have to trim them down a little bit. But what a fun page. That went together so much easier than I expected, and so fun. Thank you so much for joining me for another one of our quilted pages, our Scrappy quilt pages for Halloween. And I'll have another Halloween video coming to you on Friday, but this one I just thought would be fun for today. Again, thanks so much for joining me, and until next time, I hope you have many more creative moments. Enjoy your day.